counting me out, I'm getting it in, yeah. No time for no loss, I'm paying the cost, I'm in it to win, yeah. Confused, mind it can't be diffused. If you ain't thinking the same, then we playing by different rules. You can't see the vision, we living at different views. Until we complete the mission, keep getting up, never snooze. I walked a mile in my shoes, had the mind of a fool, chasing diamonds and jewels. Trust me, I was confused. Started minding my business and used my mind as a tool. Ended up finding my purpose and found the time to get to it. They told me I couldn't do it, they told me I couldn't make it. They sold it, could never break it. That's sadly mistaken. I need a piece of the pie, I want it so bad I can taste it. They told me like Toby, keep on running, toes they gon' take them. Used to lose, built to win, applied myself, I felt it in. No time for the doubt, they counted me out, I'm getting it in, yeah. No time for no loss, I pay for the cost, I'm winning to win, yeah. Refuse to lose, I'm built to win, applied myself.
Welcome back to CTC. I'm your gracious host, Carl, and I'm here to give you your wrap up. I know I'm a little late. I know I'm late. They just blame me. I'm late, but I'm here. I'm still here to do it. We're gonna give y'all wrap up for the rest of the bowl games that I missed. Tomorrow's gonna be an episode where I give y'all preview for the championship game Monday. Now, what I will say about tomorrow is if anybody in the Refuse to Lose family wants to come on, that's eligible to come on, via membership, stuff like that, let me know. I will have you on. You can give your opinion about the game, give your pick. It's an open door. So anybody tomorrow, open door that's eligible, can come through, give your pick, why you pick that team for the championship game on Monday. Now, before I continue with the show, I'd like to ask you to leave a like, comment, share, subscribe on CTC. As you can see, I'm on my own YouTube channel that's affiliated with the Refuse to Lose network. We've now branched this out to our own individual YouTube channels. So please leave a like, comment, share, subscribe, and let's grow this channel and let's grow all the other channels like we grew the R2L channel. Let me shout out the other channels. They are BWT Baseball with Teddy, FFC Fantasy Football with Coach Coons. Why am I blanking? King's Talk with Joe Jordan, Dave's Doghouse, where Dave makes dogs and put dogs in a doghouse. Real Ballers Only featuring Vaughn, where he goes over NBA topics. And last but certainly not least, Indie Red Corner, which Indie Red Corner tomorrow does have a treat for y'all. So make sure you tune into that. But please, like I said, leave a like, comment, share, subscribe to all of those channels on the network. And you know what I'm saying? Listen to a couple videos. And if you like what you're listening to, stick with us. Now, let's hop right into these bowl games. We got results from Thursday to Monday. The first one we have is the Fenway Bowl, SMU 14, Boston College 23. Boston College was able to run on a pretty stout SMU run defense. I did pick SMU to win this game. I did not think Boston College was going to be able to run like they were, but Boston College had a field day on the ground against SMU. SMU would start the game with a Kevin Jennings fumble, which would lead to a Boston College 45-yard field goal. Boston College would score for another 45-yard field goal. Boston College would have a 45-yard field goal missed, which would lead to a 3-and-out punt, which will lead to SMU scoring a 1-yard LJ Johnson touchdown run on their next possession. Set up by Jake Bailey, 18-yard catch. Boston College will answer with a 6-yard Kyle Robichaux touchdown run. Set up by 19-yard Thomas Castellanos run. The SMU will answer with a 6-yard Jalen Knight and touchdown catch, set up by a 15-yard Adam Moore catch. Then Boston College will start the second half with a Thomas Castellanos interception, but it will lead to a punt. SMU will have a 46-yard field goal blocked, which will lead to a 15-yard Thomas Castellanos touchdown run. Then SMU turnover on downs, 4th and 3, passes incomplete, which will lead to a Thomas Castellanos 14-yard touchdown run, with the PAT being no good. And then with 2:40 left in the game, SMU turnover on downs, 4th and 10, passes incomplete, which will lead to the end of the game. Like I said, man, SMU style run defense, but not against Boston College. Thomas Castellanos was able to break the game open with the run game, which he's known to do. Really explosive running. I said running back, quarterback. Excuse me. Do not kill me. Really explosive quarterback. Man, just him and Kai's a dynamic duo in that backfield. So shout out to BC for winning the Fenway Bowl. But we got to move on to the Pinstripe Bowl, which made me start 0 for 2 that day. So I picked Miami to beat Rutgers, mainly because I thought they would be able to stop Cal, keying on Cal, and make Gavin Wimsatt beat them, and they did not. Cal ran for a field day against Miami. Gavin, I don't even think he cracked triple digits in the passing game against against Miami. So Rutgers was able to win that on the back of Kyle Monangai. They also had a huge special teams play, and I believe in like the third quarter, I think it was a block punt. Man, as an MSU fan this year, up 18, I seen the same thing, man. Up 18, we blew the game. It all started with a block punt, going for a touch. So I know Miami. I know all too well. But let's get into it. Rutgers wins 31-24 in the Pinstripe Bowl. Rutgers starts with a 1-yard Gavin Williams touchdown run, set up by a 22-yard Kyle Monangai run. Miami will start with a punt, and Rutgers will miss a 53-yard field goal, which would lead to a Ja'Cory Brown interception, which would lead to a 7-yard Kyle Monangai touchdown run. Miami would then answer with a 7-yard Ja'Cory Brown touchdown run, set up by roughing the passer, and then Miami would score a 35-yard field goal right before the half. And then Miami, to start the second half, would take the lead with a 30-yard Xavier Restrepo touchdown catch, which I believe he said he's coming back, set up by an unnecessary roughness. Then Rutgers will start with a punt. Miami punts, but that would lead to a blocked punt, the block punt, like I said, and that would lead to Rutgers scoring a touchdown off the block punt. And then with 11:51 left in the fourth quarter, Rutgers scores a 1-yard Gavin Wimsatt touchdown run, set up by a 40-yard Kyle Monangai run. Miami turnover on downs, 4th and 2. Henry Parrish run for a 2-yard loss, which will lead to a Rutgers 35-yard field goal. Then Miami will answer with a 1-yard Ja'Cory Brown touchdown run, set up by a 22-yard Isaiah Horton catch. Miami would recover their onside kick and have a chance to tie the ball game, but on 4th and 6, they complete a 5-yard pass to Xavier Restrepo, which is a turnover on downs, and Rutgers will be able to kill the clock to win the game 31-24. Again, man, Kyle Monangai was just able to have a great game on the run. On the ground. Big Ten defense. First half had Miami stopped. Miami offense couldn't barely get anything off the ground. Now they got some going late. But early on in the game, Miami offense was just a struggle bus. Rutgers was able to just dominate the game in the first half. Miami, like I said, second half take the lead, but special teams, man. Special teams is offense, defense, special teams for a reason. Able to come through, make a play, and they took advantage, win the game. Now next, we got the Pop-Tart Bowl, which had me going 0-3. I did pick NC State to beat K-State, but Avery Johnson had a pretty good game. Brennan Armstrong, man, a couple turnovers. But NC State would lose 19-28 in the Pop-Tart Bowl to Kansas State. Kansas State would start with a 37-yard DJ Giddens touchdown catch, set up by a 20-yard DJ Giddens run. He had a phenomenal game against NC State. Then NC State would start with a punt. Then with 12:18 left in the second quarter, NC State turnover on downs, 4th and 1. Run is stuffed. That would lead to a 4-yard DJ Giddens touchdown run. NC State would answer with a 31-yard Brennan Armstrong touchdown run. Then K-State would answer with a 19-yard Avery Johnson touchdown run, the quarterback. NC State 26-yard field goal right before the half, and then NC State would start the second half with a 49-yard field goal. And then K-State would start with a punt. Then NC State would miss a 52-yard field goal, which would lead to a 3-and-out punt. Then NC State would score a 60-yard Trent Penix touchdown run, but the 2-point would be no good. And then with 2:48 left in the fourth quarter, K-State scores an 11-yard Jace Brown touchdown catch, set up by an 18-yard Avery Johnson run. Then NC State would throw Brennan Armstrong would throw a pick, and it leads to the end of the game. Now I want to talk about K-State's last drive. Oh my God! As Houston just scores a one-play tud to Nico Collins. I do have the game on mute, but yeah. So K-State runs the punt back, but there was a block in the back, gets a call back. Then K-State scores another touchdown. I can't remember what it was, but it was called back due to penalty. And then K-State was on the same drive, was able to score again for a third time, no time called back. But this time it killed so much clock. It was like NC State would have just rather the punt return touchdown and try to work back from there. But K-State essentially scored 3 times on one drive, but killed so much clock. NC State didn't have a chance for real. Threw a pick, and that was your ball game. Yo, shout out Vaughn. And shout out my boy Vaughn. Hey, we be going at it in the chats. But shout out my dog. It's all love. Appreciate you for stopping by, my boy. But yeah, so K-State, shout out to them. Huge win. Avery Johnson looked good. I don't know if that's going to be their quarterback next year. I don't know if they're going to go in the transfer portal. He looked pretty good. I don't know if that's what they're going to go with in the future, though, because now Will Howard has now transferred to Ohio State a couple days ago, I think yesterday or Thursday, one of those 2 days. Will Howard has now transferred to Ohio State. So K-State is now in the transfer portal, or maybe not in the transfer portal for a quarterback. But we move on to not the Arizona Bowl, to the Alamo Bowl. I did pick this one right. My only pick right of the night for Thursday. Arizona 38, Oklahoma 24 in the Alamo Bowl. Arizona started off hot. The Oklahoma was able to battle back, but then Arizona took over late to win the game. Now, I do think Oklahoma will be in the market for a quarterback. I don't like the way that Jackson Arnold looked. Now, I don't know if General Booty is still at Oklahoma. Yes, that's his real name. Don't know if he's still at Oklahoma. Don't know if he'll be in any chance for the starting position. I do think with Dylan Gabriel going to Oregon, I do think they'll try to pick somebody up in the transfer portal. But Arizona, man, these wide receivers were super explosive in this game, made a ton of plays. Defense made plays as well. Now, they did give up some big runs to Gavin Sawchuk, but, I mean, that's just how it goes. Gavin Sawchuk is a nice running back. But overall, Arizona offense, Nova Fighter looked really good. And Nova Fighter, I believe, is a freshman. So, got a couple more years with this guy if he chooses, which I think he will, just choose to stay with Arizona. I do think Jaden Delora is in the transfer portal. I'm not 100% sure on that, if he's in the portal or if he's gone. But I think Jaden Delora is in the portal. But the future looks bright with Nova Fighter. So Arizona will start with a 39-yard field goal. Oklahoma will start with a Jackson Arnold interception, which will lead to a 35-yard Jacob Cowan touchdown catch. With 2:29 left in the first quarter, Jackson Arnold, another interception, which will lead to an Arizona 38-yard field goal. Oklahoma answers with an 18-yard Gavin Sawchuk touchdown run, set up by a 20-yard Gavin Sawchuk catch. Arizona, Nova Fighter, will throw an interception, which will lead to a Jalil Farouk fumble, which will lead to a punt, which Oklahoma would then score a 10-yard Nick Anderson touchdown catch. I believe that was in the back of the end zone. Set up by a 62-yard Gavin Sawchuk run. The Oklahoma will start the second half with a 63-yard Brendan Thompson touchdown catch. And I ain't gonna lie, when that happened, that was a big play. I'm like, oh man, I'm about to go 0 for 4. Arizona started all hot. They gave me some hope, but it's just not my day today. I'm just not meant to get at least a W. But then ties will change. Arizona would start with a punt. Then Oklahoma would score a 22-yard field goal to go up 11. Then with 2 seconds left in the third quarter, Arizona's Gunnar Maldonado picks up an 87-yard scoop and score for a touchdown. And then Oklahoma's Jackson Arnold will have Then Oklahoma's Jackson Arnold would throw an interception, which will lead to a 37-yard field goal. And then Arizona on his next drive will score a 57-yard Jacob Cowan touchdown catch, set up by a 16-yard Tutoria McMillan catch. And then Jackson Arnold would have a sack fumble, which will lead to a 19-yard DJ Williams touchdown run. And then Oklahoma turnover on downs, 4th and 28. Jackson Arnold, he scrambled for 20 yards, needed 8 more, but that would lead to the end of the game. So Arizona were able to make plays on the defensive end late to put Arizona in position to score and win the Alamo Bowl. Shout out to Arizona. Shout out to Jed Fish, man. Took over a program when it wasn't really left in great hands by I'm blanking on head coach's name. Kevin Sumlin. I believe he took over for Kevin Sumlin. I believe Kevin Sumlin was the coach with not Khalil Tate. Maybe it was Khalil Tate at quarterback. I believe that was the last time that Jed Fish took over. Whatever the case may be, Jed Fish took over and Arizona looks really good. It looks completely opposite with Arizona of last year. So shout out to them. We move on to the Gator Bowl. Clemson, 38. Kentucky, 35. Now, this was more high scoring of a game than I thought it would be. I thought Clemson defense would be able to, control Kentucky's offense. I know it was a couple sloppy seconds in this game, sloppy moments. I know Devin Leary, game on the line, did throw an interception. No surprise for me at all. Figured Clemson might get 1 or 2 off of him. They got 1 or 2 off him when he was at NC State when they played at Clemson last year. Not surprised that Devin Leary late game threw a pick. But let's get into it. So Clemson would start with a 39-yard field goal. Kentucky would start with a punt. Kentucky would score a 22-yard Barry Brown touchdown run. Set up by a 43-yard Ray Davis run. With 10:17 left in the second quarter, Clemson scores a 1-yard Phil Moffitt touchdown run. Set up by a 28-yard Jake Barnstable catch. Then Kentucky would answer with a 5-yard Dane Key touchdown catch. Set up by a 58-yard Dane Key catch. Kentucky would start the second half with a 100-yard Barry Brown kickoff return touchdown, while Clemson would start with a punt. And then Clemson would start with would score a 1-yard Phil Moffitt touchdown run set up by an 18-yard Troy Stellato catch, but the 2-point would be no good. Then Devin Leary gets sacked and fumbled, which leads to a Cade Klubnik interception, which will lead to a Devin Leary interception, which will lead to a 28-yard field goal for Clemson. So Devin Leary with back-to-back turnovers. Then Barry Brown would fumble, which would lead to a 29-yard Phil Moffitt touchdown run setup, and the 2-point would be good. Then Kentucky would have a 60-yard Barry Brown touchdown catch set up by a 15-yard Dan Key catch. Clemson would answer with a 52-yard field goal. Kentucky would answer with a 1-yard Ray Davis touchdown run set up by a 72-yard Jordan Dingle catch. And then Clemson would answer with a 3-yard Phil Moffitt touchdown run set up by a 16-yard Antonio Williams catch. The 2-point would be good. And that's when Devin Leary throws the pick with the game on the line, causing Clemson to win by 3. I did pick Clemson to win this Gator Bowl, mainly because, like I said, the familiarity with Devin Leary at quarterback, the ability for him to turn the ball over. I know he can get a little turnover prone. I know Kentucky offense, if Ray Davis isn't the focal point, if the run game isn't on point, Devin Leary, if you put too much on the shoulders, it won't look as good, which they put up 35, so I was partly wrong there, but 3 total turnovers in this game for Devin Leary is not going to lead to success against most teams in this college football landscape, especially in a bowl game. So shout out Kentucky, shout out Clemson for getting the dub. Cade Klubnik gets a dub. I'm curious to see what Clemson does next year at quarterback. In my opinion, Cade Klubnik was lackluster. I know to start the year, he was top 5 in Heisman voting before the season. That quickly faded. I actually had questions behind that, if you remember in the chats. But, yeah, I'm not really a fan of Cade Klubnik. He had the keys this year. Didn't look great. He took over the keys last year for DJU. Didn't look great. Kind of looked the same. They even brought over TCU's offensive coordinator last year, which I told Trent in the chats, I don't give him much credit for Max Duggan and TCU because if we remember last year, Max Duggan wasn't a starter. It was actually Chandler Morris. Then Chandler Morris didn't play so well. Max Duggan took over, and he just took the job and never looked back. I thought Duggan was the sure starter from the jump, but hey. But we got to move on. We have to move on to the Sun Bowl, a blowout of a bowl game now. I think, if I remember correctly, I picked Oregon State because Notre Dame had a bunch of pieces gone in this bowl game. I understand Oregon State did too, and the coach, but Notre Dame offense didn't look, I won't say it looked bad, but it just didn't meet my expectations of Notre Dame offense with the pieces they had in Sam Hartman, and all those pieces weren't playing. So I'm like, okay, Oregon State, yeah, they're missing a bunch of pieces too. But Oregon State offense wasn't like the backbone of its team either. It was going to be a defensive struggle. I just feel like Oregon State was going to win it. Nope. Or Notre Dame blows out Oregon State 40-8. Don't have much here about this game. Just a couple notes since it was a blowout. Oregon State scored 1 touchdown all game. They got the 2. It came in the second half. Notre Dame, their drives all game went touchdown, missed field goal. So, just a miss. Punt, touchdown, field goal, touchdown, turnover and downs, touchdown. So, they were able to score basically at will. Notre Dame even scored a safety. Oregon State, they did throw the lone turnover with a pick. Notre Dame shut down Oregon State's offense all game, basically. Notre Dame was able to get it done in the air and on the ground. And Ohio State, because I put OSU. Oregon State, 1 of 9 on third down. Just got completely dominated. I did not mean to do what I just did. Completely dominated. So just going to move on from this one. Shout out Notre Dame for winning the Sun Bowl. We move to a more competitive bowl game, Liberty Bowl. Now, I thought Iowa State defense would come to play better than this. I did pick Iowa State to win. Memphis was able to put up a bunch of points. And, if you told me Memphis put up 36, I would have told you Memphis is going to win the game because Iowa State, with Matt Campbell through these past years, have been a really good defensive club. Not really great offensively. Abu Sama, I believe, was just taken completely out of the game. If I remember this correctly, Abu Sama was just taken out. It was a lot of leaning on Rocco Bet. While Seth Hannigan, he had himself a day at Memphis at quarterback. I believe they dropped. If I remember correctly, Demir Blankenship started the game with like a bomb or something like that. Yeah, he started with a 70-yard touchdown pass. Yeah, started the game with a bomb. So that basically set the tone for this Memphis game, this Liberty Bowl. So shout out Memphis winning it. Let's get into it. Iowa State loses 26-36. Memphis, like I said, will start with the 70-yard Demir Blankenship touchdown catch, but the point had to be no good. Iowa State will start with a turnover on downs, 4th and 1. Rocco Bet, no gain, leads to an 11-yard Seth Hannigan touchdown run. Memphis will score a 51-yard Joseph Skates touchdown catch, set up by an 18-yard Rod Taylor catch, but the 2-point would be no good. Iowa State will score a 29-yard Jaden Higgins touchdown catch, and then Iowa State will score a 22-yard field goal. Memphis will have a turnover on downs, 4th and 2. Blake Watson, 1-yard run. So he's short. Leads to a 39-yard field goal. Memphis will hit a 49-yard field goal right before the half. Iowa State will start the second half with a 3-and-out punt. Memphis will start with a 5-yard Anthony Landisfear touchdown catch set up by a 55-yard Blake Watson run. I remember I love Blake Watson, that running back. Guy that's going to make a bunch of people miss. Memphis scores a 48-yard Sutton Smith touchdown catch. Iowa State scores a 15-yard Easton Dean touchdown catch set up by a 35-yard Carson Hansen catch. And then Memphis will miss a 31-yard field goal, leads to a 23-yard Jalen Noel touchdown catch. Then Memphis turnover on downs, 4th and goal, passes incomplete. But that would just lead to the end of the game. Like I said, man, Memphis, Seth Hannigan had himself a day. I believe he had 5 total touchdowns on the day, 4 through the air, 1 on the ground. Blake Watson, I believe, had over 100 yards. Blankenship set the tone with a 70-yard touchdown catch. This is a great game by Memphis offensively to put up 36 and win the Liberty Bowl. Next, we have the Cotton Bowl, which had not that much. Man, the Cotton Bowl, Ohio State's Devin Brown, he did end up getting hurt, leaving the game for the rest of the game. And Ohio State was pretty much weren't able to do anything offensively after he left. Mizzou, Ohio State kept Mizzou's offense in check. Now, mind you, this is Mizzou's like real offense, like not a lot of opt-outs here. They kept them in check throughout a lot of the game. Jim knows. I told y'all to start the season. Jim knows, and this Ohio State defense can be scary, man. If that offense could just match the defense, man, Ohio State would be lights out. Hopefully, they're hoping. I don't, but they're hoping that Will Howard is the missing link. Now they will be missing Marvin Harrison. I believe he announced himself to the draft. Julian Fleming has transferred to Penn State. I don't know if Emeka Egbuka announced himself to the draft. I'm assuming Emeka Egbuka will go to the draft. Travion Henderson, I don't know if it's time for him to go. I know he was there when they played Bama with Mac Jones. But I don't know because of the COVID year if he can come back or not. Chip Trainium has entered the transfer portal. So it's interesting to see where Ohio State will be next year. But let's get into the game. Mizzou wins the Cotton Bowl 14-3. Ohio State will start with a 3-and-out punt. Mizzou will start with a punt. With 3:12 left in the first quarter, Ohio State will make a 44-yard field goal. And then basically it's just all punts for the rest of the first half. Second half, Mizzou will start with a 3-and-out punt. Ohio State will start with a 48-yard field goal miss, which will lead to a punt. Then Mizzou will get a 7-yard Cody Schrader touchdown run set up by a 50-yard Marquise Johnson catch. And then Mizzou again will will ice the game with a 7-yard Luther Burden touchdown catch set up by a 31-yard Theo Wise reception. Ohio State's Lincoln Keynotes would be sacked and fumbled. That would just lead to the end of the game. But like I said, man, defensive battle throughout the entire game. Ohio State was shutting down Mizzou's offense. They couldn't sustain any drives to get field goal range to score. They just at the end of the game was able to put together 2 great drives to go and win it. Ohio State, when Devin Brown went down, it was just all over. They already was out a lot of people. Kyle McCord is now transferred to Syracuse. So, man, it was just an uphill battle from there. Shout out Mizzou, man. Eli Drinkowitz. I had y'all being really bad this year. I said you could clip me up for motivational purposes. It won't matter. And I was just completely wrong. It just is what it is, man. I'm not one of them guys who's going to make excuses and da-da-da. I was just wrong. Y'all proved me wrong. I shout out to y'all. Y'all made me a fan. I know a lot of people like, stay over there, da-da-da. I mean, hey, look, man, it is what it is. I like good football. I love Luther Burden. I love what Brady Cook was able to do, turn this whole thing around. Last year, he didn't look so great. This year, he looked phenomenal. Cody Schrader, a dog. Theo Wise looked really good. Man, I'm just a fan of this 2023, 2024 Mizzou team. So, shout out to y'all. We move on to the Peach Bowl. By the way, I did pick Mizzou to win that game. Where I picked Ole Miss to win the Peach Bowl against Penn State. Ole Miss was 5 point. I still don't understand how far Ole Miss was dogs in that game, but I digress. Ole Miss wins 38-25 against Penn State. Penn State was missing a lot of people. Penn State it was announced that Kalen King at first he was going to play, then they announced he wasn't going to play, and it still went up. I want to say it went up a whole point. But Ole Miss offensively, man, like I said, you give Lincoln Riley weeks to prepare offensively, he's going to come up with a game plan. And they hung 38 on Penn State. Penn State, not much through the air. So, man, hey, Ole Miss gets the dub. Let's get into it. Ole Miss starts with a 3-and-out punt. Penn State starts with a 26-yard field goal. Ole Miss scores a 36-yard field goal. The Ole Miss will score a 6-yard Caden pre-scoring touchdown catch set up by a 25-yard Trey Harris catch. Penn State will answer with a 2-yard Theo Johnson touchdown catch, set up by 75-yard Tyler Warden catch. Ole Miss will answer with the 45-yard field goal. Then Drew Law will throw an interception, which will lead to a 37-yard Caden pre-scoring touchdown catch. Penn State answers with a 48-yard Nick Singleton touchdown catch. The Penn State to start the second half will start with a 3-and-out punt. Ole Miss will start with a 52-yard field goal. Now, Ole Miss will score a 14-yard Quinshon Judkins touchdown catch, set up by 5 carries for 51 yards by Quinshon Judkins. By the way, still don't understand why he's in the transfer portal, but I digress. With 10:55 left in the fourth quarter, Penn State's 51-yard field goal is blocked, which leads to a 2-yard Jackson Dart touchdown run. Then Drew Law gets sacked and fumbled, which will lead to a 3-and-out. And then Penn State will score a 14-yard, Harrison Wallace touchdown catch, set up by a 24-yard Drew Law run, and the 2-point would be good. Then Penn State will have a 4th down, turnover on downs, 4th and 10 passes incomplete, will lead to the end of the game. Now, I just want to expand a little bit on Quinshon Judkins. Don't understand why he entered the transfer portal, started back. I know he split some carries with Ulysses Bentley for a little bit of the season, but he still got most of the totes. Still put up phenomenal numbers in both years in Ole Miss offense. I thought him with Jackson Dart coming back and a lot of these pieces coming back, they were primed to be. I saw some people saying they were going to be top 5 in the preseason. I thought he was sure coming back, but hey, just because you're in the transfer portal don't mean he will leave. I believe he can withdraw. We just saw Caden Salter, the quarterback of Liberty, enter the transfer portal, withdraw from the transfer portal. So, hey, he can do the same. Maybe he just want to test the waters, test the college football free agency waters. I ain't mad there. But I just know it was a head scratcher. I'm not saying I'm disappointed, none of that. It was just a head scratcher. That's all it was in my opinion. So, hey, man, maybe the best thing that works out for you work out for you. If that involves coming back to Ole Miss, hey, look, I would love to watch you at Ole Miss. Again, I love watching you the past 2 years with my dog Jackson Dart at Ole Miss. So, hey, maybe you come back. Now, we move on to the Music City Bowl as Gardner Minshew goes deep to no one. Auburn loses. I did pick Auburn to win. 13-31 to Maryland. Now, the reason why, if you remember, I picked Maryland to lose is because Talia was not playing. Without Talia, it's a huge question mark at quarterback. If I remember correctly, Billy Edwards did not have a great game through the air. Matter of fact, let me go see if I can pull it up. If I remember correctly, I saw he was 6 for 20 and like double-digit passing yards. It's just Auburn offense, man. It is so tragically bad. I didn't think it would be 13 points against Maryland bad, but I was wrong. Like, Auburn's offense is so bad. I don't know what Hugh Freeze has to do there at Auburn to get this turned around. I know for sure he got to go quarterback hunting because this ain't going to cut it. I don't know if he needs to get a new OC, if that was what it was, or whatever it may be. But this offense is bad. Now, Billy Edwards did go 6 for 20, 126 in the touchdown. So, yeah, not really great. It's just Auburn's offense was super bad as well. Peyton Thorne with 13 to 27, 84, a touchdown, a pick. So, just I'll read off all the quarterbacks. Hank Brown, 7 to 9, 132, no touchdown, no picks. Reggie Peyton Thorne, and then Holden Grenier, 1 for 6, 8 and a pick. 8 yards and a pick. So just bad quarterback play all across the board. So let's get into it. UMD will start. They started off hot. I think they started off 3 touchdowns. Start with a 2-yard Billy Edwards touchdown run, set up by a 61-yard Roman Hemby catch. Auburn will start with a 3-and-out punt. UMD will score a 5-yard Preston Howard touchdown catch, set up by a 17-yard Billy Edwards run. UMD will score a 3-yard Dylan Wade touchdown catch, set up by a 57-yard Caden Prather catch. Auburn, turnover on downs, 4th and 4, passes incomplete, leads to a punt. And then Auburn will score a 3-yard Brandon Fraser touchdown catch, 18-yard Rivaldo Fairweather catch, set that up. Then UMD will score a 49-yard field goal. Auburn will start with the second half with a 3-and-out punt, while UMD will also start with a 3-and-out punt. Auburn's Peyton Thorne throws a 44-yard pick six to Glendon Miller. UMD will kick it off to Brian Beatty, who would fumble, which would lead to a UMD punt. Then Cameron Edge of UMD would throw an interception, which would lead to a Holden Grenier interception. Then that would lead to a UMD punt to Keontae Scott, who would fumble. Maryland would recover, but then that would also lead to a punt. So Auburn would then score a 1-yard Jeremiah Cobb touchdown run, set up by a 53-yard Caleb Burton catch. And then Auburn 4th and 7, turnover on downs, incomplete pass leads to the end of the game. So a bunch of sloppy football. Maryland just wins a sloppy game. Kudos to them for winning. The Music City Bowl, don't have too much to say about that. Just like this next game, don't have much to say. I literally have no notes written down. None. The Orange Bowl, Georgia wins 63-3. It pretty much expected a blowout. Florida State down to Brock Glenn, third string tight end. Running. Jesus Christ, messed up both positions. I guess third string of me getting this right. Third string quarterback. A bunch of opt-outs. Keon Coleman, Jordan Travis was hurt, so that's not an opt-out. Trey Benson, Jaheim Bell, a bunch of guys just opted out. They was like, this ain't the playoffs. We feel like we got robbed. Screw this bowl game. Let's just get ready for the pros. Some of them said, let's get ready for the pros. Some guys opted out. Some guys is in the transfer portal. So it got ugly. Georgia dominated this game. It got ugly early. A lot of Georgia players did play. Carson Beck, a lot of these main guys on the offense and the defense. Now, some pieces opted out, but not as much as Florida State. And Georgia already dominates teams when both teams in the regular season. So you put up second and third stringers against a mainly first string Georgia team. This is what you get. Now, I do want to use this one to rant. I saw a lot of people say, oh, man, this is what you get with the transfer portal and people always transferring and all these opt-outs. No. One, this is what you get when teams feel like they got robbed and you tell them that a 13-0 season don't matter. Why would they care about this Orange Bowl? Why would they care about a bowl game that really doesn't matter to them because they feel like they should have been in the college football playoffs? Why? Please answer that. Why would they care? Secondly, this is not the first year this has happened. If y'all remember when Matt Corral was leaving Ole Miss, he was being praised for playing in the bowl game for Ole Miss. Then, like, first or second drive, he gets hurt. And his draft stock gets hurt right along with him. He doesn't come back. He's out for the game. Matt Corral goes down. So, for all the kudos you get, some people just don't weigh it. They feel like the cost is not as good as the praise. So, what's it called? Cost effectiveness or whatever it's called. They just feel like it's not worth it. So this isn't what you get with the transfer portal. No. Now, the transfer portal has enhanced it. Yes. But this isn't the first time it happened. This won't be the last time it happened. And it was happening before. This isn't 04. This isn't 05. And I get it. I miss it too. I love bowl games. I love when people play. But players opting out due to the draft, players opting out due to whatever, it's not new. It's not. I'm sorry. When you made this college football playoff thing, you made some of these bowl games less important to teams that feel like they should be in the playoffs. That just is what it is. This wasn't a consolation prize. This isn't a Florida team. This isn't a team that they feel like, all right, we're rivals with. No, this is Georgia. They don't care. So that's my little soapbox. You know what I'm saying? The motivational factor just wasn't there. Players already opt out due to draft, and they have a couple pro prospects, so they would want to just opt out anyway. So it's not because of this new age. No, that's been already happening. So I hate how people try to make it like this was the first year this stuff has ever happened. Like, oh my God, now this happened. Oh my, no, y'all were complaining about this years before. Y'all just want to make it a bigger thing because the whole playoff situation. I don't care. That's my little soapbox. We move on to the Arizona Bowl. I did pick Wyoming to win this. I did pick them to have their head coach ride off to the sunset with a bowl win, ride off on top. Pause if necessary for my wild people in the Refuse to Lose family, but he rides off in the sunset. Bowl win in general. Wyoming beats Toledo on a walk-off field goal, 16-15. Now, what I will say is Toledo had this game in control the whole time. They just could not finish drives. That is it. That is all. Toledo could not finish drives, and that's mainly due to the fact that Tucker Gleason is not Daquan Finn. Tucker Gleason, in my opinion, did have a pretty good game, but a lot of those drives he didn't finish. I feel like Daquan Finn would have finished. Now, Daquan Finn has transferred to Baylor, and I actually hope he has Baylor do really well. I was a fan of Baylor with I don't think that was Matt Rule. I can't remember who was the head coach, but that 2021 Baylor team with Jalen Petrie and Terrell Bernard and all those guys that won the Big 12 championship. I was a fan of that team. I really like that team. I really like that defense. I can't remember who was that quarterback or running back, which is oddly surprising enough, but I really did like that team. Hopefully, Daquan Finn cannot. I don't think they're going to win the Big 12, but have them competing, be real competitive, especially with Texas and Oklahoma gone. But let's get into this game. Toledo loses 15-16. Toledo started with a 3-and-out punt. Wyoming will start with a 34-yard field goal. Then Toledo's Tucker Gleason will throw an interception, which will lead to a 52-yard field goal. Toledo will answer with a 33-yard field goal. Toledo would then score a 80 yards equates to a touchdown run, while Wyoming would start the second half with a punt. Toledo would start with a punt. But then Wyoming would get a safety. Toledo would get a safety. Wyoming gets called for safety. Andrew Peasley gets sacked in the end zone, which will lead to right after that to a 33-yard field goal, which makes the score 15-6. With 8:37 left in the fourth quarter, Wyoming was able to put together a drive with 1 yard Evan Suboda touchdown run set up by Wyatt Weiland 19-yard catch. Then Wyoming would get the ball back. Toledo actually did drive after this, and I believe they got knocked out of field goal range, punted the ball, and Wyoming was able to make it to a 24-yard field goal to win the game, riding off to the sunset. Head coach, shout out to I want to say his name was Craig Bowl. Let me make sure. I don't want to jack his name up. What's in my notes? Because I have like this Wyoming team for quite a while. If y'all remember correctly, I kind of jumped the gun and thought Wyoming might win the Mountain West this year, or Fresno State might win it. But he's had a great year. Craig Bowl. He rides off to the sunset with a W. The Arizona Bowl in his back pocket. Just enjoy retirement, coach. Great career. We're gonna move on to a banger of a Monday noon bowl of the ReliaQuest Bowl. Did pick LSU in this one. Now, major reason why I picked LSU, I did not know Tanner Mordecai came back. I was still gonna pick LSU regardless, but Tanner Mordecai came back. That's one of my favorite. Was one of my favorite quarterbacks last year at SMU. Transferred to Wisconsin. I thought if he was able to stay healthy, he might elevate Wisconsin to another Big Ten championship game. But he did get hurt. Braden Lott was forced to start, and he just wasn't Tanner Mordecai. It just is what it is. Wisconsin would lose the ReliaQuest Bowl 31-35 to LSU. Malik Neighbors did play the first half. He did sit out the second half. I called him Gus Nussmeier by accident. Garrett Nussmeier. Pretty good game. Brian Thomas had a pretty good game as well. Kyron Lacey. Will Pauling. Outstanding game for the Wisconsin Badgers. But let's get into it. LSU will start with a punt. Wisconsin will start with a 20-yard Bryson Green touchdown catch, set up by a 41-yard Will Pauling catch. With 51 seconds left, turnover on downs, 4th and 1, Josh Williams with a 3-yard loss, which will lead to a 53-yard Will Pauling touchdown catch. With 6 minutes left in the second quarter, LSU scores a 1-yard Harold Perkins touchdown run. Harold Perkins, yes, the defender, Harold Perkins. They lined him up in the backfield. I believe it was like an offset formation. They ran like a little offset run to the left, and he just dove in. Harold Perkins touchdown run set up by a 21-yard Kyron Lacey catch. Wisconsin would score miss a 51-yard field goal. It leads to a 12-yard Caleb Jackson touchdown run. Wisconsin would score a 9-yard Will Pauling touchdown catch. Set up by a 22-yard Tretch Kikana touchdown. Just a catch, not a touchdown catch. LSU's Garrett Nussmeier would then throw an interception, which would lead to a turnover on downs, 4th and 1. The run would be stuffed, which would lead to halftime. To start the second half, Wisconsin would have a 33-yard Jackson Aker touchdown run. LSU would start the second half with a 38-yard Brian Thomas touchdown catch, set up by a 17-yard Josh Williams run. LSU would score a 14-yard Chris Hilton touchdown catch, set up by DPI, defensive pass interference. Wisconsin would score a 21-yard field goal, and then with 3:08 left in the game, LSU would score a 4-yard Brian Thomas touchdown catch, set up by a 43-yard Chris Hilton catch. And in Wisconsin, 4th and 25, Tanner Mordecai is sacked in the ball game. I believe LSU ended with like 3 sacks in the ball game. But yeah, Will Pauling, great game. LSU, pretty great game. Garrett Nussmeier, Brian Thomas, all the guys, great game. LSU defense actually stepped up in the clutch because LSU was giving up big play after big play after big play, like they normally do. But in the clutch, was able to make a play. Shout out to them for winning the ReliaQuest Bowl. I believe 10 wins on the year for Brian Kelly and the LSU Tigers. Now, Jaden Daniels obviously didn't play, getting ready for the draft. So, good luck, Jaden. My God, man. It's been fun watching you in college these last 5 years, my dog. Moving on to the Fiesta Bowl. Boy, was that a blowout. Just going to get through this real quick. Liberty was able to score first, and that was it. They threw the first punch, and Oregon said, hold on, cuz. And just 45 straight from there. So, Liberty starts with 17-yard Bentley Hanshaw touchdown catch, 33-yard Aaron Beggar touchdown. Run set that up, but the point had to be no good. Oregon would start with a 37-yard field goal. Then with 12:53 left in the second quarter, Oregon scores a 2-yard Gary Bryant touchdown catch, 44-yard Bucky Irvin run. And then Oregon scores a 2-yard Terrence Ferguson touchdown catch, 21-yard Trayshawn Johnson catch. Oregon scores a 3-yard Keon Sadiq touchdown catch, set up by a 50-yard Gary Bryant catch. Then Liberty's Caden Salter would throw an interception, which would lead to a 17-yard Trayshawn Holden touchdown catch. Then to start the second half, Ted Johnson would score a 24-yard touchdown catch, set up by a 15-yard Trayshawn Holden catch. Liberty will start with a turnover on downs, 4th and 5 passes incomplete, which will lead to a 1-yard Bucky Irvin touchdown run. And then with 6:07 left in the fourth quarter, Liberty, CJ Daniels fumbles, which will lead to the end of the game. Like I said, man, 45 straight for Oregon. Bo Nix gets a I believe he got an ovation when he left, but Oregon dominates and wins the Fiesta Bowl. Man, I wish it was honestly closer because then I'm pretty sure the talks was, see what happens when you give a group of 5 school a chance to go against a really good Power 5 school. This is what happens, 45-6. Wasn't even close, wasn't even competitive, blah, blah, blah. So that sucks, unfortunately, for the whole group of 5 narrative. So moving on. We're going to the last non-college football playoff bowl, the Citrus Bowl. And we're just going to quickly go over this. I did pick Iowa to win, by the way. One, got to clear something up. I totally forgot Joe Milton sat out this game. And Nico Iamaleava was the starting quarterback. Completely slipped my mind. I forgot to write that down. But Iowa, again, just allergic to scoring points, man. That just is what it is. I know the OC is fired. He did not meet the stipulation of his contract. Obviously wasn't going to do that. They might as well just have fired him instead of doing that. But, hey, they gave him a chance, quote unquote. But, yeah, Tennessee wins 35-0 in the Cheesy Citrus Bowl. Just go over this real quick. Iowa starts with a 3-and-out punt. Tennessee starts with a punt. With 14:55 in the second quarter, Tennessee scores a 19-yard Nico Iamaleava touchdown run, set up by Dylan Sampson, 2 carries for 34 yards. Then Tennessee will score a 3-yard Nico Iamaleava touchdown run, set up by unsportsmanlike conduct. Tennessee to start the second half with a punt. Iowa starts with a punt. With 2:25 left in the third quarter, Iowa Deacon Hill gets sacked and fumbled, leads to a 2-yard Nico Iamaleava touchdown run. Then Iowa's Deacon Hill throws a 52-yard pick six to James Pierce Jr. And then Iowa turnover down, 4th and 6 passes incomplete, leads to an 18-yard McCall and Castle's touchdown catch. And then Iowa turnover down, 4th and 1 passes incomplete, leads to the end of the game. Again, man, Iowa just allergic to scoring points. Had the ball, I believe, deep in Tennessee's territory early in the game, but got pushed out of field goal range. Just is what it is, man. Hopefully Iowa can get it together for their sake, not for mine. Big Ten fan here, so don't care. But for their sake, they can get an offense because they always have an extraordinary defense. They could just get an offense. They really could actually have a chance in these Big Ten title games. They'd be having no shot because they have no offense. So we move forward to the college football bowl games, and we got the Rose Bowl to start because it was the first game. And pick Bama to win. Bama had a 7-point lead late in the game. They actually had a 4-point lead. Got the ball, I believe, on a fumble, but didn't take advantage. Didn't score a touchdown. They only scored a field goal. Left the door open for Michigan. Let Michigan convert a 4th and 2 deep in their own territory. Let Michigan score. Now, when I say let, I don't mean like seriously, like they laid down and let them do it, but I'm just saying that's just what happened. Michigan gets the ball first in overtime. Blake Corum has a great run. They're going to, for sure, if Michigan wins Monday, that's for sure going to play through Michigan highlights forever and ever. And Alabama with a very questionable 4th and goal at the 3 play call. But let's get into it. Michigan starts with a 3-and-out punt. Should have started with an interception, but fortunately for them, Brush stepped out of bounds. It's not a pick. It's the right call. It's the right call. So I'm not saying fortunately for them, like, I mean, should have, like, it was a cheat. No, it wasn't no cheating. Right call. Pick gets reversed. Start with a 3-and-out punt. Alabama would start with a 3-and-out punt. But when they punt, Samaj Morgan would fumble, which would lead to Alabama recovering and scoring a 34-yard Jace McClellan touchdown run. Michigan would then answer with an 8-yard Blake Corum touchdown catch out in the flats. Alabama was getting killed in the flats every time. Set up by Blake Corum, 21-yard run. With 3:49 left in the second quarter, Michigan scores a 38-yard Tyler Moore's touchdown catch. Now, this wasn't in the flats. This was just a simple drag. But he took a simple drag, 38 yards to the crib, outran everybody. Alabama would end with a 50-yard field goal right before the half. But to start the second half, they would start with a punt. Michigan would start with a punt. Then with 14:30 left in the fourth quarter, Bama would score a 3-yard Jace McClellan touchdown run, set up by 18-yard Jalen Milroe run. Then Bama's Jalen Milroe, when they get the ball back, up for opportunity to score and put the game away. He fumbles the rock. Leads to a 49-yard field goal miss. However, like I said, they got the ball back and they only scored a field goal. They did score a 52-yard field goal, deep field goal, but nonetheless, it was just a field goal, so it's just one possession game. Then Michigan would answer with a 4-yard Roman Wilson touchdown catch. I believe that was in the flats. Set about 29-yard Roman Wilson catch. Believe some of that came back though because of a block in the back. Then Michigan would score first in the OT with a 17-yard Blake Corum touchdown run, and Bama on 4th and 3 calls a quarterback draw. Some people saying it's not a quarterback draw. It was an option play. He could have ran it up the gut, or he could have threw it to the wideout. I don't know. It looked like a draw to me, but it also could have been because he fumbled the snap and he just aborted, panicked, and tried to run for it. Anyway, questionable play call after 2 timeouts, one from Michigan, one from Bama. I would have loved to see what the previous play call was, but Bama loses the game. Michigan advances to the playoffs championship, where they will take on Washington, as I just kind of spoiled it. Washington wins the Sugar Bowl, 31-37. I did pick Washington to win that as underdogs. Y'all gonna stop making Washington underdogs, man. Y'all did it in the Pac-12 championship, they won. Y'all did it. I believe y'all did it against Oregon the first time and they won. Y'all did it against Texas in the Sugar Bowl, they won. They are now currently underdogs in the championship game Monday. Hey, maybe they continue to train and win. But let's get to it. Texas will start with a punt. Then Washington will start with a 2-yard Dylan Johnson touchdown run. By the way, praise up to Dylan Johnson. I haven't seen much since the injury. It looked bad, but hopefully it's not as bad as it looked. So praise up to him. But that was set up by a 77-yard Jalen Pope catch. Texas would answer with a 5-yard Jaden Blue touchdown run set up by C.J. Baxter, 31-yard catch. With 13:08 left in the second quarter, Washington scores a 1-yard Dylan Johnson touchdown run set up by a 29-yard Jeremy Bernard catch. Texas 3-0 punt, but Jeremy Bernard would fumble, leads to a 1-yard Byron Murphy touchdown run. Yes, the big fella got in the end zone. Washington turnover on downs, 4th and 1. Dylan Johnson running stuff, which would lead to just a punt. Then Washington would score a 29-yard Jalen Pope touchdown catch set up by a 15-yard Jack Westover catch. Texas will answer with a 3-yard C.J. Baxter touchdown run set up by a 21-yard Quinn Ewers run. Washington will start the second half with a 19-yard Jalen McMillan touchdown catch. Texas will start the second half with a C.J. Baxter fumble leading to a 26-yard field goal. Washington will then make a 41-yard field goal, which both of those were huge W's for Texas. Texas, Jaden Blue would fumble, which would lead to a punt. The Texas scored a 1-yard Adonai Mitchell touchdown catch, set up by a 38-yard Xavier Worthy catch. And Washington would answer with a 27-yard field goal to go up 9. Texas will answer with a 25-yard field goal to go up 6. To go down 6. Washington will recover the onside kick. That would lead to a 3-and-out punt. But there were some clock issues I would go over. Then UT would take the ball and go down the field, but on 4th and 11, 0 seconds left on the clock, passes incomplete, high, defender swats it away, and that's your ball game. So let's just talk about this clock mismanagement by Kalen DeBoer. I believe it was 3rd down. Texas, 2 timeouts. They decided to throw for it. It was like 3rd and long. They decided to throw for it. They don't get it. Now, Texas keeps the timeout, and they keep 40 seconds. If you run the ball there, you might even be able to run for the first or run against yourself in the field goal range. Or you take a timeout from Texas, which would have killed them in the long run. Or you take 40 seconds from Texas, killed them in the long run. You gave them more clock than they should have. Almost killed you at the end of the game. Luckily, your defense made a play at the end, and you win the game, so it doesn't hurt you. But clock mismanagement, can't have that, especially from the coach of the year and Kalen DeBoer. Can't have that. Michael Penix, though, however, so happy for the young man. He is in the college football championship game. Funny enough, he played at Indiana. I believe at Indiana he did beat Michigan. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure that's what happened, though. So shout out to him, man. Shout out to Indiana. Shout out to Washington. Changing the whole outlook of Michael Penix. If Michael Penix never transferred from Indiana to Washington, he would not be a projected first-round quarterback. We would not see what we'd be seeing from him now. So good thing he changed the scenery, changed the situation, and he is thriving because of it. Speaking of Indiana, Indiana's only down 1 to Ohio State at the half in college basketball. Ohio State has a huge road woe, I would say. Losing streak. There we go. Road losing streak in the Big Ten. So I bet on Indiana. I'm not going to lie. So let's go Indiana. But that's it for the bowl games. I got my major performances. I got a ton of major performances, and then I will be out of here. So let's just roll through these major performances. First one, Darius Taylor, running back, Minnesota, 35 carries, 208 yards, touchdown, and a touchdown, 2 catches for 11 yards. Jason Bean, quarterback of Kansas, 19 of 28, 449 yards, 6 touchdowns, 3 picks. Luke Grimm, 4 catches, 160 yards, and 3 touchdowns, wide receiver, Kansas. Lawrence Arnold, 6 catches, 132 yards, and 3 touchdowns, wide receiver, Kansas. Kyron Jones, quarterback, Virginia Tech, 20 carries, 176 yards, and a tud. Bashol Tootin, running back, Virginia Tech, 18 carries, 136 yards, 2 touchdowns. Miller Moss, quarterback, Southern California, 23 of 33, 372 yards, 6 touchdowns, only 1 interception. Isaac Guerrero, running back, Louisville, 23 carries, 161 yards, 3 touchdowns. Rashad Owens, wide receiver, Oklahoma State, 10 catches, 164 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Brennan Presley, 16 catches, 152 yards, wide receiver, Oklahoma State. Thomas Castellanos. Now, I'm going to read his passing stats, and you're going to look at me crazy, but just hear me out. 11 to 18, 102 yards, and a pick, but 21 carries, 156 yards, 2 touchdowns for the Boston College quarterback. Kyle Monangai, 25 carries, 163 yards, and a tud for the Rutgers running back. DJ Giddens, 28 carries, 151 yards, a touchdown with a catch for 37 yards and a tud, the Kansas State running back. Tutoria McMillan, 10 catches, 160 yards, wide receiver, Arizona. Jacob Cowing, 7 catches, 152 yards, 2 touchdowns, wide receiver, Arizona. Gavin Sawchuk, 15 carries, 134 yards, a touchdown, 3 catches for 42 yards, running back, Oklahoma. Seth Hannigan, 24-34, 364 yards, 4 touchdowns, 6 carries for 27 yards, and a touchdown for the quarterback out of Memphis. Caden Prescorn, 10 catches, 136 yards, and 2 touchdowns for the tight end out of Ole Miss. Will Pauling, 8 catches, 143 yards, 2 touchdowns for the wide receiver out of Wisconsin. Bo Nix, 28 for 35, 363 yards, and 5 touchdowns for the quarterback out of Oregon. And Tez Johnson on 11 catches, 172 yards, and a touchdown for the wide receiver out of Oregon. And that is everything I have for y'all for today. I will be back for sure tomorrow to cover the college football championship game. That is Monday night. Again, if you are eligible through the Refuse to Lose family and you would like to come on the show to talk about the game, please hit me up. I have an open door policy. You can come through, make your pick, tell me why you made your pick, and I'm all ears. I might debate you if I disagree with anything you say, or I might let you rock. You know what I'm saying? But hey, man, if you want to get on the show, just let me know. Again, that's all I got for y'all today. Until tomorrow, I'm gone. Peace. Oh, hold on.
Thank you for staying to the end. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like this video, subscribe, and also hit that notification button so you can be notified next time we put out a video. If you're listening on any podcast platform, subscribe and hit that notification button, y'all, so you can be notified we put out another podcast audio. And last but not least, hit that share button. No matter what you're listening to or watching it, hit that share button and send it to somebody that you know that would love to watch this episode you just listened to. So once again, thank you for staying to the end, and we'll see y'all at the next episode.